Hi everyone! We continue to get experience in team battles. Today, we review playing from the bottom spawn on the map Mines. As usual, Slide from Navi is giving this advice through me. Fast tanks, tanks with good elevation angles, and heavily armoured turrets set the pace on Mines. We are pretty low on the latter two stats with this setup. Since many teams tend to play with 5 heavies, we usually have more mobility. We'll start with this example. Let's say the enemy has 2 tier 1s and 5 heavy tanks. In this case, we'll send the 90 to the hill and cover him with our IS-3s. To do this, the ISs go to F4 right away and aim at E5. The AMX 5100s stay hidden, but close by. We send the T1s to the island in H1 and to the house in F8. Then we wait for the info from our scout. The 90 spots several tanks in the center. In this situation, there are 3 options for our next move. First, the opponents have taken positions in the D5 region. And suddenly one of our heavies receives a shot from the island. This means at least one enemy tier 8 is near the water. We rush the center at once, since we have an advantage in numbers. Attacking 5 versus 4 and voila! Then finishing the last tier 8 isn't a problem. It's very important to keep in mind where the tank on the island can shoot, and stay safe from it to keep it as a 5 versus 4. Second option, the enemies rush the center. In this situation, we hide the 90 in a safe place, but still on the hill. This way, the scout stays in the game to distract the enemy. If the enemy heavies go for the hill, then our heavies shoot their sides and counterattack. The IS-3s absorb shells, the AMX 5100s deal with the damage, and the 90 baits the enemy by shooting from the other side, trying to make them turn their turrets towards him. Good focused firing and victory is ours. If the enemies rush the center and bottom instead of the hill, then our 90 flanks them as soon as possible and deals as much damage as he can. We aim for the fuel tanks and set them on fire. It's important to keep the 5100s behind the IS-3s so they don't get killed at the very beginning of the enemy's attack. Remember, each autoloader must unload at least 1 drum at the enemy. If all of your team does everything needed of them, then the enemy has no chance. Option 3. The enemies took positions near their base. In this case, we'll have to work up a sweat. A lot depends on our 1390. His task is to carefully scout and shoot when he can. Note the right way to do this. Our 90 drives in a path so that a rock is constantly between him and the potential enemy in A4. From here he can shoot at C4 and part of D5. By the way, even if you've spotted no one in the bush in C4, you should make several blind shots at it. To leave this position, go back the same way you did on the approach. While the 90 does its job on the hill, the IS-3s make use of their sturdy turrets in the center. Our team's task at this stage is to act as careful as possible and try to get an advantage in hit points. Don't forget to use the T1s. If you see that the enemy is entrenched, push the flanks. We carefully send our scout to the island and cover it with a 5100 from the center. The second T1 goes to the village, covered by the 90. The T1's goal is to get closer to the enemy and passively spot. But first you need to get rid of the enemy tier 1s. Thanks to this, we are able to act freely and pin the enemy down since they will have no tripwires remaining on the flanks. The 90 proxies the enemies near the hill and the 100s detour through the village. We stay close to the right side to stay unspotted for as long as possible. We wait for the right moment and unload our drums. As soon as the enemies turn their attention to the 100s, we push upon them with our IS-3s. The main thing to remember is to hide the 100s until the right moment and, as usual, focus your fire. But sending tanks through the village is quite risky. It's more reliable to attack with all the heavies through the center. However, it all depends on the situation. For example, 4 enemy heavies in D5 and another one in the bushes in C4. Our 90 shoots at it. Meanwhile, the IS-3s absorb shots with their turrets. We already have an advantage and we can play with a simple plan. Rush the center. The ISs go first, the 100s follow. The 90 continues to control the heavy in C4. An aggressive attack and the battle is won. If the enemy have TDs, you should play in a similar style. but you need to be even more careful. One good shot from a TD can mess things up. We scout with the 90, bait shots with the IS-3s whilst keeping the 100s safe. We shoot at the bushes in A4 from time to time. The TD is most likely behind this rock, so shoot at both of its sides. There's no need to hurry. It's important to get an advantage in HP. It will be hard to have a successful attack without one. As for the rest, we act similar to the other situations. Loosen the defense, press the flanks with the T1s, wait for the right moment, and attack. What to do if the enemy's setup is as fast as ours? This is a tough question. If the enemy has one fast tank, then we can challenge the hill. But in most cases, the enemy light tank will be there before ours. The road is better from the northern base. The IS-3s will try to help the 90 by shooting from F4. Then we play from the central rock. The 100s cover the ISs as usual. In this case, much depends on the personal skill of the tankers. There is no guaranteed way of winning. Another way is to play defensively. It is especially good if the enemy has several fast tanks and not just one. We place the T1 in a bush in F8. Another one goes under the hill in G6. The 90 goes to the island in H1, and one of the 100s to K4. The other one, along with the IS-3s, stay near the base, and the other IS-3 goes to F5. The T1s scout the approach to the hill from the village. One of the IS-3s scouts the center. The 90 controls the island and can shoot at E5 if needed. One of the 100s aims here too. The other one aims at the hill. The IS-3 from J7 is ready to shoot at the village. The main thing here is to stay alert and not to turn your turrets. Keep aiming at the needed spots and wait. We have given away the hill to the faster enemy, but we fully control the approaches to our base. Our goal is to catch the enemy on a mistake. One careless peek from an enemy tank and we have a tier 8 gun advantage. As you know, winning such a battle isn't hard. We proceed to attack and capture the hill using our extra gun to our advantage. Sometimes in order to win, you have to let your enemy feel in control for a while. Not everyone has the patience to do this, but you will need to be able to. That's all for today. Next time we'll review playing from the North spawn. Remember to share with your clanmates and subscribe to have the show in your feed. See you!